been a minute since I've streamed. I need to adjust my camera real quick. Hey, Ducky Dev, what's up? Hello, Sammy. First time I've seen you in the chat. Good to see you. One sec. Hey, what's up? Sorry, guys, I was screwing with my camera. Hello, Toad Sage. How are you? Ducky Dev, it's already dinner time for you? Where are you at, Ducky Dev? Also, that light in the background's making it look like it's flickering. One second. There we go. That's better. No, I'm not. I already made the coffee. Yeah, I haven't actually, Network Bib, haven't been to any streams lately. I haven't actually been streaming much the last week. I've had a ton going on, just like life and work and stuff, and been super distracted, but a lot of those things are now behind me, and we can once again try to get back to a normal schedule. Why is my voice so low? Oh, I don't know. Hold on, maybe it's my mic. One sec. I think my mic's close enough to my mouth, but I think the input's just turned down a little bit. One second. Let's see. Turn it up a bit. Sorry about the beeping. Hello, hello? Is that better? No? Oh, it's because I have the... Oh, no. That's not what it is. Is that better? That's probably better. There you go. Let me know if that sounds any better. See you, Network Bib. Hey, Pablo. How are you? Yeah, it's been a minute. I've had a lot of work stuff going on, a lot of life stuff going on, but so streaming kind of took a backseat there for the last few days. Oh my god, why does it beep like that? How do you turn the beeping off? All right. I think I got all my technical things worked out. Hey, what's up, Russell? Good morning. Yes, it is a morning stream. Actually, I probably got about an hour because we're taking a trip this weekend. We're going back to my hometown to see my brother and my nephew, and we're gonna hang out with them. So I got about an hour or so before I have to hop off and like finish getting ready to leave. But I figured I might as well do a little streaming until then. Network Baby finally got a job. Well, nice, dude. Congrats. If you're still here, Network Bib, I know you said you had to go walk your dog, but congratulations, man, on your job. Pablo, good, thanks. Everything okay? Yeah, everything's good. Everything's good here. I basically, how do I say this in the most like professional and like not doxy? I don't want to dox anybody, but basically, I was going through a period of consideration of possibly changing jobs, essentially, um, and that didn't end up happening. But there was a lot that transpired in the last like 7 8 days that just was kind of occupying a lot of mental space in my head. Um, but that's all settled now, and so life is returning to normal. Ducky Dev, you can't. It's a Windows thing. Oh, that sucks. Yeah, I would really like to be able to turn off that annoying chime. Pablo, ooh, nephews are great. Yeah, he's my second, third, second nephew. But first one on my side of the family. So my other nephew's on my wife's side of the family. He's like not two yet, not quite two yet. So I'm really excited to see him. They are the kids that are someone else's problems. Yeah, nephews and nieces are great that way. Especially like with for me and my wife, both our kids are elementary school age, right? So we kind of missed the whole baby phase, but we basically get the whole baby phase again because as our siblings have kids, which is pretty great. Toad says, "Have you heard about Claude CLI?" I have heard about Claude CLI. I have not tried it. Or I'm guessing what you mean by Claude CLI is you're talking about Claude Code, right? Toad Sage? Claude Code. This? I'm assuming this is what you're talking about. But I guess it could be something specific. So let me know if I'm wrong. Pablo, yeah, no diapers and no milk, just cute faces. Exactly, Pablo. 100%. Pablo knows the deal. Toad Sage. Yep. Yeah. So I haven't tried this. So you can tell me if I'm wrong, but my understanding was in order to use this, I have to be like a paid Claude subscriber, which I'm not currently. So I haven't tried it. Maybe I should spend $20 a month or whatever it is to try it for a month. What I have been experimenting with is I've actually been experimenting quite a bit with let's see, with the Gemini CLI. I don't know if you saw uh, they came out with a CLI tool. I don't know if you saw that. Pablo, I held my friend's kid the other day for an hour. He fell asleep on my arm. So cute. Yeah, it's the best, man. Little kid snuggles, like uh, you just. I mean, I miss that so much with my own kids. Just being able to hold them and fall asleep. Yeah, it's pretty great. It's one of the best parts of being a parent. Pablo, oh, we have Gemini CLI, Open Code, Codex, Claude Code, so many options. Yeah, so Gemini is the one I've been using the most from the CLI, um, and they actually just released that like this week. Yeah, this is what I've been experimenting with for the last couple days, and mainly because I'm a paid Gemini user. Like I already had a $10 a month Google subscription, and then I just bumped it up to $20 a month, and that included all the nice Gemini functionality you get. So that's what I've been using. I do want to look at Open Code. That's the one by SST, right? I've seen that one on Twitter, and I listened to a podcast called, what's it called? Uh, every Is it Another Day or something? I can't remember the name of it. Hold on, let me find it. But there's two guys that are on this podcast that I listen to that I think are part. One of them I think is maybe works for SST or something. Um, but open code looks pretty cool. I just haven't tried it. Yeah, let me see if I can find the podcast. This one. It's called Tomorrow. How about tomorrow? And it's Adam.dev and Dax. I think Dax is pretty well known on Twitter, but I'm pretty sure those guys are a part of the S. At least one of them is a part of the SST group that built OpenCode. I haven't tried OpenCode, so I should probably give this a go at some point. Claude has serious context problem. Also, Claude has some serious limits. Yeah, I mean, I like Anthropic. I mean, obviously, like I built an SDK for the API. I'm just not a paid customer beyond like I don't have a subscription, right? I pay for tokens through the API when I need it for stuff. But the Gemini CLI is pretty cool. Let's see, is it npx at Google Gemini CLI? Obviously, npx takes a minute. Pablo, make sure you don't grab the wrong open code. Yeah, that was kind of funny hearing them. They were because there's a repo for open code that's under an organization called OpenAI, right? And then there's the open code that's under a repo called SST. Anime GM, what is the best and fastest AI text generation for Python or JavaScript? I guess anime. I'm not sure. Were you looking to log in with Google? Are you looking for like using using text generation in like an application? Is that what you're trying to do, anime? Or you mean like for your own purposes, like for part of your workflow? Yeah, I was using this. I actually used this the other day to build a tic-tac-toe game that persists games into a SQLite database, and it actually worked pretty good. Um, it was kind of funny. I actually posted about it on Blue Sky. Uh, Here, Blue Sky. It did something really funny, or I thought was really funny. So I was using basically all JavaScript technologies. I don't know if you guys can see this, but basically, I don't know how big this picture is, but basically, it was Gemini CLI was running, and it was trying to do what I was telling it to do, which was building a bunch of things using JavaScript based or TypeScript based technologies, running in Node, and the Gemini CLI itself runs in Node, and uh, it decided that it needed to kill all the Node processes on the machine. But the problem with that is that then it kills itself, right? So I posted this picture because it's really funny. After I allowed it to execute that command, obviously it died, and then I said, I said Gemini unalived itself. A couple people I work with got a really good kick out of that. Yeah, probably killed itself. Yeah, exactly. Wait a minute, I shouldn't kill all the node processes. Anthropic is good, but CLI version got some serious issues. Okay, yeah. So I use Claude.ai, the chat app, quite a bit through the browser, but I can't speak to the CLI, so I'll have to take your word for it, Toad Sage, at the moment. Um, but yeah, I think it's very cool. I want to find a way to integrate these things into my workflow better. Um, Obviously, there's a big push in, I think, the developer ecosystem. I think, particularly within organizations, there's a very big push within organizations to push developers to use AI tools. So I think it behooves me to try to figure out how to incorporate them more into my workflow. I'm definitely not going to become a vibe coder, but uh, they're very cool. Hello, Tom. How are you? Tom, this is the first time I think I've seen you in my chat, so thanks for stopping in, man. Appreciate you stopping by and saying hi. This won't be a particularly long stream today, but it's nice to hang out and enjoy the morning, drink some coffee together. Ducky Dev, I'm still building a reverse proxy in Node. It's going fine. Yeah, I admire you, Ducky Dev, that you take on these rebuilding these well-established technologies. I'm sure you learn a lot in the process too. I'm kind of in a headspace right now where I'm just not, for whatever reason, I'm not super interested in like trying to re-implement uh, like a web server or a proxy or write my own version of Git. At this moment now, my headspace is more like the things I'm focused on from a side project perspective is I have a couple different ideas. I haven't really put pen to paper on any of them. So one idea is I would like to see if I can't build some sort of agentic solution. And particularly what I have in mind is like basically like a junior, like my own junior engineer, right? So like somebody who can help me do some of my work with me in the loop, right? So like an agent that can read a PRD doc, produce a test plan and test cases, maybe even write the initial like draft of some automated test cases. So that's one idea of something I want to build. I'd really like to build some sort of personal finance application. I think I mentioned this a few streams ago, but like for a long time I used Mint as my personal finance tool, and obviously Mint went away, and right now I'm using a piece of software called YNAB, which stands for You Need a Budget, and it's great, but it's a little bit more complex than what I need, and it's also $15 a month. And so I'm kind of interested in trying to build my own personal finance thing that will use like Plaid to connect to my bank accounts. So that's the second project that's currently kind of spinning in my brain. And then the third project is a buy me a coffee site. So I think I've definitely mentioned this on stream before, but there's all those sites that people use, like I think it's called like coffee.com or something like that. But I want to learn how to use Stripe, the Stripe API, right? I want to learn how to accept payments online. And so I think that would be a great project for learning, and then two, I can actually use it for my own purposes. But those are the three projects that are currently like ruminating in my mind. I haven't actually set about doing anything about them. But that's for the second half of this year. Those are three things I'd like to try to work on. Ducky Dev, someone's trying to buy the project? Someone's trying to buy your reverse proxy? That's cool, dude. Very, very cool. Well, I hope you finish it. I hope you make some money off of it too. That'd be wonderful. Yeah, that'd be great. There's a self-hosted app called I Hate Money. Oh, that's interesting. I've never heard of that. I am a big personal finance person, so let's see. I think this is what you're talking about. IHateMoney.org. Is this what you're referring to? Interesting. I wish they had. Do they have a page that like covers their features? Huh. Yeah, that's pretty cool. It's good to know there's alternatives out there. But yeah, this is I think this is something that I think I have a very I had a very specific way that I used Mint, and so I'd really like to try to recreate that experience for myself. And it'll probably be an app that's sort of like only ever used by me. but it'll be mine, right? And it'll be very tailored to what I want to do and how I want to manage my finances. Plus, I think it's another project that would help level me up from a developer perspective when you talk about having to deal with a partner like Plaid, having to integrate with Plaid and use Plaid to access financial information. I think that will be another great thing to put in my back pocket. Pablo, oh, I have a project I wanted to make for finance as well. Oh, very cool, Pablo. Yeah, yeah. I mean, if other people are interested in it too, like if other people would be interested in having something like that, maybe that would be a fun project to collaborate on. Toad says, my kind of cool naming. I hate money. Yes, that is an excellent name for an application. Excellent name. Yeah, I mean, names are important. Names are memorable. Also, don't laugh at me, but I've been working on this. I've been working on this new feature for this SDK for like weeks, 3 weeks now, and I still have yet to complete it. I've been so distracted and very unproductive the last, well, unproductive when it comes to this aspect of my life. Let's see. What do I want to do? I want to go to Anthropic. Pablo, you probably plan to use C# though, cries and TypeScript. We could do TypeScript. It doesn't have to be C#. I mean, I like TypeScript a lot. I honestly don't know what I would do it in. I have a note in my Obsidian in an Obsidian folder somewhere that I had written like a year ago when Mint shut down, and I've just never revisited it. Um, but yeah, no, I'm not tied to any one particular language. Hey, Network Bibs back. What's up? Uh-oh, Ducky Dev, did you just stick a password in the chat there? That's what it looks like. What's up, Artwork Studios? Hey, man, I appreciate you leaving those nice comments on my shorts there. Or my content just to check in. Super kind, man. Oh, hey Noku, I saw you join the chat earlier and I didn't say hi. How are you? Statically type Python? That one might be a harder sell for me. I mean, Pablo said TypeScript, which I'm always open to TypeScript, but the Python might be a harder sell. Ducky Dev, not really. I just keyboard smashed. Okay, fair enough. It just looks like Randoodle says "def" was a password. I don't think I can. I mean, I can hide it, or no? Can I? Yeah, I could remove it if it is a password. I can remove it from the chat, obviously, but yeah, I appreciate your artwork. It's very nice. Like the internet and my interactions on YouTube are so varied in terms of the quality, and so I always appreciate it when I find some kind people online. Ducky Dev, it's not a password. Okay, I'm way too dumb to remember it. Yeah, no worries, man. I was just giving you a hard time. Yeah, no worries at all. Pablo, just in case it gets removed. Yeah. Oh goodness, sorry, I'm kicking my camera. Yeah, OnePass is great. I personally use Bitwarden, but OnePass is great. I used LastPass for a long time, and then LastPass got hacked like 3 times in a year, and so then I moved to Bitwarden. Toad says for understanding some graphic programming stuff. What are you talking about? I think I might have missed an earlier message you must have sent, Toad Sage. I don't even really remember where I was. I think where I left off with this is that I was trying to achieve some level of code coverage. Yeah, if I remember right. So let's try to see where we are. Also, I've been live for about 30-ish minutes almost, so I've got probably another half hour. Let's see, CD Anthropic client. And then we're gonna start up live server so we can see our test results. This is gonna be live server source. I don't. And then test results, coverage, report. And then up here, we're going to do enable read line. And then we're going to do this one right here. Pablo, time to grind. Yeah. Grind for 30 minutes. Yeah. Very productive. Artwork Shoes. I was making a game, but you don't know how fast I clicked into the stream. Well, I appreciate that, Artwork Shoes. It's very kind, man. Definitely, obviously, keep grinding away on your game, but I appreciate you coming and joining us. Noku, imagine not simply memorizing all 29 passwords you have. I can't even tell you the passwords to basically any of my stuff. Since I started using a password manager, I am religious about using my password manager. I use it to generate all my passwords, update them, keep them up to date. Have you guys heard of these crazy people who they don't use passwords to log into their account. They just reset their password every time they want to log in. Have you guys heard about these people? This is a crazy thing. I read like a Reddit thread on this, that people basically, as part of this, this effort to be a passwordless, part of like a security minded thing, they just don't know their password, and so they just use the forgot password flow every time. Kind of like those sites that use magic links to log in, which I think is wild, because that's way too much friction for me personally. Noku, what's readline? Readline is just a power. What is that? A PowerShell module that does. It gives you this history, this history list view that you see on the screen right here in PowerShell. And so sometimes I'm never super confident that I haven't put things in the terminal that I don't want to leak. So usually when I'm streaming, I just disable it so that previous commands I have entered that could potentially have sensitive information don't show up. I know, I like to live dangerously. Syed, hey there, what you cooking, bruh? Hello, Syed. I am working on. I've been working on it for a while now. I'm just trying to keep up with the Anthropic API. So, the Anthropic API has been adding a lot of features. They've added several features since the beginning of this year, and I wrote a C# library to help make it easier for .NET developers to work with the Anthropic API. And I've been bad about basically updating it. So I have a long list, and I'm trying to make my way through that list right now. But I can't say I'm the most productive. Artworks used. This is rare, so I can't afford not to come here. Oh, well, it won't be as rare as it's been. I know I have not been good about keeping up with content and streaming as of lately. But hopefully hopefully the fiasco that has gone down the last 14 days or 2 weeks of my life. Put that behind us, and we'll get back on track here. Noku, time for biometric login. Yeah. Well, you see a lot of sites now are offering the keys, the pass keys option, which is pretty cool to see. Uh, that would actually be probably a good project for me as a web developer to figure out how you do um, pass key authentication. It'd probably be a another use. There's so many damn things to learn. See you, Toad Sage. Have a good day, man. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. I appreciate everybody who like comes back and revisits the stream. It's really kind of you guys. All right, so I was gonna want to figure out how to. Okay, so I need to write a little bit of a longer filter here. 1 second. So I don't want to run anything that's end-to-end, or I don't want to run anything that is an example. Like that. Should run much faster now, but it won't cover as much. Our work studio says, I'm way too addicted to Geometry Dash because when you said back on track, I thought about the level. Well, I mean, okay, this is taking way longer than what I expected. I wonder why. Maybe my filter's not right. Oh, I don't want the or. That's why. This shouldn't be an or. This should be an and, shouldn't it? Yeah. Yeah, okay. This should be and. So don't run my end-to-end tests and don't run my examples. There we go. Yeah. Okay, that was what I wanted. And my code coverage is still pretty good. If I don't use my end-to-end tests, I'm still at like 92% coverage, which is good. But I like to have a high level of coverage without using my end-to-end test because when I run my end-to-end test, it does use money because I am talking to Anthropic's API. So it's nice to have a high level of coverage without having those. And they're expensive and they take time, right? So Pablo, you are such a nice man. It's nice to come back. Oh yeah, I appreciate that. I try to be nice. I really do. I try to show up on my channel here, or really just in general on the internet, the same way I would show up in person. And I think that's a great approach to try to take to your life. I don't want to be a shithead on the internet and then a nice person in real life. Noku, imagine a futuristic future where you use memories for identification. That sounds trippy. Yeah, I don't know, the identification, the authentication thing, that whole world is just such a it's a cat mouse game and it will never end, right? I mean, as long as there are people who are working to secure things, there are going to be people working to figure out ways to circumvent those things, right? So it's this constant arms race, and it's sort of exhausting to some extent. Especially then when people start talking about like quantum computing and then everybody's, then when you talk about quantum computing, all bets are off, right? Then it's like nothing, everything today that we rely on to make things secure, all of a sudden become immediately unsecure, right? Uh, so yeah, I don't know. It's a little exhausting to keep up with it. I understand it's necessary, but it just feels like a rat race. Artwork shoes. Also, did you reorganize? Because now you look to your left to see chat instead of to your right. So I did reorganize. I don't know if you can tell, the camera angle is a little bit more straightforward. So I'll have to put a picture in Discord. But before, I was working with like a really little desk, and I kind of had everything on. I had everything on that desk, and I had the same sort of setup, but my camera was positioned over here. And I actually bought myself a proper desk, and kind of reorganized everything. And one of the things I accidentally did was I switched the monitors that were part of my OBS setup. So you're right, I used to have my chat over here, or no, I used to have my chat over here, and now the chat's on the other monitor. So that's probably why it looks like I'm looking at a different place. Artwork Studio stream may ironically crash again like that one time. Yeah, I hope it doesn't, because I've got a beefy machine with lots of RAM. So hopefully we don't have any more crashes that are due to resource limitations. Pablo, I'm in the middle of a migration from MUI to ShadCN, and boy, there's a lot of front-end code. What's MUI? I've never heard of that. I also, guys, I realize I have not written a single line of code since I started streaming, but it's much more fun to interact with you guys. MUI, that's some sort of library? Oh, okay. I've not used this one. But I'm assuming ShadCN's better because you're migrating off of this. Hello, Butterscotch. Good to see you again, man. Yeah, long time no see indeed. I was actually saying that earlier on stream that, so basically just to kind of like share as much as I can without, just outright calling, doxing people who maybe don't want to have the situation publicly clarified. But basically, for the last couple weeks, I had gone through this period where I thought I might be changing jobs or companies, and there was a lot going on with all that. And so it's not that I didn't have time to stream, it's just I felt so mentally preoccupied I didn't want to, right? The vibes just didn't fit. So that's why long time no see. But all that's been settled. So we're back to regular scheduled programming. Pablo, we fabricate memories a lot as humans, not really trustable. Yeah, that's really a great point from in terms of using our memories for authentication. Yeah, most of our memories, things that we believe we recall, is a very lossy recollection. Yeah, it's where we try to reassemble these things in our mind, and we do it very, very imperfectly. Hey, what's up, Russell? Oh, you refilled your coffee? Nice. I don't think I'm gonna have time to refill mine. I think by the time I got up and refilled it and came back, I'd only have a few minutes left to stream. So I'm just gonna drink what's left in here, and then I'll refill it once I get off stream. Artwork Studios. Wow, I feel way too fanboyish. What do you mean fanboyish? I don't think you said anything. Oh, because you're talking about did I reorganize? I don't think that's fanboyish at all. I mean, I think I noticed that stuff with content that I watch. I keep kicking my camera though. That's a problem. MUI is Material UI, but we are not using any of the default styles. We are overriding all the styles. Oh, Material UI, that's Google, right? I don't know if they actually built that library, but isn't Material UI a Google thing? Oh no, Material Design is a Google thing. Oh, and Material UI is an open source React component library that implements Google's Material Design. Okay, yeah. So yeah, it's sort of related to Google, but not necessarily. AI prefers Shadcey and Tailwind over MUI SX Prop. That's a really good point, Pablo. That's actually like if your company is heavily leaning in towards like AI first or AI powered workflows from a dev perspective, then it probably helps to have a tech stack. Like that's something I think about a lot when it comes to the fact that I really like writing C#. It's very clear that a lot of the models are much better at writing Python and TypeScript than they are writing um, .NET code, especially more modern .NET code. And to your point about like CSS and styling, right? Like it's very clear that the models much prefer to write Tailwind than plain old CSS, right? So totally understand that. Butterscotch, any plans on horizontal streams? Yes, so that's something we have talked about before. Chat and I have talked about this before. So I think the plan is to try to have two concurrent streams, one that's in a horizontal format and one that's in a vertical format, and people can just pick which one they want to use. I haven't got around to setting that up in OBS yet, though. My understanding is I've done a little bit of research. There's a plugin that I can use in OBS that makes it relatively straightforward to set up. I just need to do it. Russell, I did so many projects with Bootstrap and material design icons. Oh, really? What language were you working with, or what was that when you were writing a lot of PHP? I think you were writing PHP, right, Russell, before you kind of moved everything over to JavaScript. Bootstrap was so the first website I built was prior to doing Free CodeCamp's curriculum was an MVC5 application that used Bootstrap. So Bootstrap was the first kind of utility, first design system thing that I had worked with. And Bootstrap, I feel like it's still usable. Bootstrap 5 is still definitely usable. Tailwind's great though too. I don't know. I'm like from a developer perspective, I'm so agnostic about technologies. Like, use the stuff you like, use the things you enjoy, and be excited to learn. Lightbow, Steven, I'm pursuing beating my husband. What the fuck? I don't. Lightbow, that is random. I don't know what's going on there. Violence is never the solution to any problem, so I don't know what's going on there. Artwork studios. Oh yeah, don't get me started on GD script because AI sucks at that 50% of the time. Yeah, it is. I mean, I'm guessing that's a very solvable problem, right? That's just better training data for these models in the future, right? So I'm sure future iterations of these models will be better at more languages, but right now it's pretty clear, right, that they're highly adept at TypeScript. No, they almost always prefer Python if you don't tell them otherwise. They're pretty clear. They're very good at TypeScript if you instruct them to use TypeScript or JavaScript. And then the more you get away from those two languages, I think the lower the quality of your generations become. Harin von Makra. Hello, Harin. How are you? First time I think I've seen you here. Thanks for stopping by. Artwork Studios to watch the stream horizontally, turn your entire PC sideways. I mean, that's one option. If I had to guess, most people who stop by and watch a stream are probably, well, no, I know for a fact they're mobile because that's what my Google Analytics say, or my YouTube Studio Analytics say, is most of my viewership happens on a mobile device. But I understand from like a coding perspective, people who are on PCs, like given my content and stuff, I understand people would prefer or might want to have a horizontal stream. So I'll try to find a way to make that work. Russell, I had great luck with AI writing PHP. It's mostly using deprecated syntax and doesn't really take advantage of the modern features of PHP. Switching to Node/TypeScript, I can tell the AI is much better at it. I think the AI is just trained on so much yeah, exactly right. That's the same, Russell. That's the exactly same problem I see with .NET or C# code, at least, is like it. Whenever I ask it to do something in C#, it uses like the biggest tell for me is it uses block scope namespaces, which is a very legacy thing to do. .NET has had file scope namespaces for a long time, and almost everybody who does newer code or writes brand new code now uses them. Yeah, there's several telltale things that I see in its code generation that you're like, okay, yeah, you can definitely tell that the data it was trained on is just older and kind of outdated. Pablo, AI is great at pretty much any language, but you have to waste context space or yeah, and like so, Pablo, what you said there, I guess, perfectly reflects on what I just said. Is if I wrote in the prompt, write C# and only use file scope namespaces, it would do that, right? It's just again that like the inherent training of the model, right? The probabilities of the next token prediction based on the data it's trained is not to do that. Not or is not to use the more modern feature set. Adam, can you make a code to gain eager? I don't Adam, I don't know what you're saying there. Is that some sort of internet thing? Yeah, I'm not sure what you're referring to there. If you're trolling me, well done. Well done. Pablo, no code was written this stream. We caught up. Yes, very little code has been written in the 45 minutes. But it's been good. It's been good to see all the familiar fellas in the chat, which has been good. Artwork Studios. I didn't know PHP still exists, dude. Yeah, PHP's a thing, right? I've heard really good things about PHP, and I've also heard that some of the nicest people in kind of like the development programming space are PHP developers. Um, I also think that PHP developers tend to skew to people who are more likely to be working in like small to medium um, businesses and probably are working in like agencies. Um, just given PHP's relevance to the WordPress ecosystem. Um, but yeah, I've heard lots of good things. I've never tried it myself, but I've heard lots of good things. I always listen to the creator of Laravel. What's his name? Every time I see an interview with him, I always listen to it. He seems very, very. I mean, he's obviously a very talented developer, but he also seems like a very like pragmatic. He's a very pragmatic approach to building software, developing software, deploying, maintaining software that I like. What is his name? Taylor Otwell. Yeah, I also like the fact that he's based in Arkansas, which is I actually watched a video today on YouTube that was interviewing Kyle from Web Dev Simplified, and I didn't know this, but he's based in Lincoln, Nebraska. He actually went to the University of Nebraska. So I like that there's these people in the tech space, right, who are all here in this Midwestern world, because people always think of tech people as like San Francisco, New York, right, coastal cities, or at least in the U.S. So it's cool to see people who are represented in technology who are more Midwestern. Noku. A friend recommended Gemini, so to test it, I tried to get it to build a file format specification and implementation. It failed so bad. No, I use block namespaces instead of file namespaces. Maybe I'm AI. Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's lots of like uh what are we gonna call them? Like signatures, AI signatures for text and code generated by AI. The one thing for me that stands out a lot about code that's generated by an AI is lots and lots of verbose comments. That's for me, that's a very big sign that like this was definitely this was likely more than likely outputted by an AI. Russell, modern PHP is really great. Still using it. I was just trying to make a web app that can easily be installed on some cPanel hosting provider. Oh, very cool. Yeah. So I think, yeah, I would. I'm just not. I'm just not the kind of guy to really knock on other people's choices of languages or technologies. Like, I know sometimes I talk about how that I'm just not a big fan of Python, but that doesn't mean I think Python's not great or that Python it doesn't have a lot of wonderful use cases. I just more mean like it's not like the thing I gravitate towards, right? And I think everyone is entitled to have taste, right? You're entitled to be able to say, I tried something and it didn't really grab me. I tried something else and it did, you know. And I think that's there's part of the tech space that kind of gets stuck in this loop of like, let's argue about why to use XYZ for ABC thing. And it's like, what a waste of like energy. Why don't you just go and build stuff and do things with the things you enjoy and like to do and then root for other people who are doing the same with the things that they like and enjoy, you know? Pablo, the JS landscape hasn't changed that much in the last 5 to 10 years. Most of the JS code was written in the last 5 to 10 years because JS had a big boom since 20. Yeah, that's a great point. As far as like probably the type of data that was used to train these models in terms of code. Yeah. WordPress still uses PHP while I haven't been a web dev for way too long. Yeah, I think WordPress is all authored in PHP. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it is. Russell, the most recent relevant data, 2023 to 2024, indicates PHP is used by approximately 77 to 80% of all websites have a known server-side programming. That's incredible. And it doesn't, though, surprise me because, again, most businesses are not large businesses, right? Most businesses are small businesses, small to medium-sized businesses. And so they're likely using, like you said, Russell, some CMS of some shape or form, probably WordPress, uh, to power their websites. Yeah, WordPress is super backwards compatible. Use a lot for yeah. It has tons of plugins. It's a great ecosystem. I mean, that's where I started. To be completely honest, like, um, not started like from a development perspective, but when I had a small business, a personal training business, my site was a WordPress site. It was super easy to work with, and I could update things and change things without having to really know anything about um, CSS, Java. Right? It's all just no code. So it makes sense. 100% makes sense. Noku. I like Python for very quick scripts. Plus, being able to do quick stuff with a REPL is great. Yeah, Python's great for that. I mean, not. And again, Noku. It's like I Node has the same experience. Like I'll use Node a lot for that. Um, so you can do kind of the same thing, right? So yeah, I totally agree. And I think that's one of the wonderful things about interpreted languages, dynamically typed languages, is that ability to kind of quickly iterate. I mean, that's why a lot of the scripts I write are in JavaScript, or they're in now. I've been writing a lot of them in TypeScript because the most recent version of Node can basically run TypeScript files without any external dependencies. But yeah, I totally agree. It's a wonderful reason why you should know some sort of interpreted dynamic language. Facebook uses a highly optimized variant PHP. Yeah, I would imagine. Facebook drives a lot of right innovation, um, and builds a lot of things right to power their own use cases. Artwork Studios, yeah, like my method is severely unoptimized, but here we all are supporting each other. Yeah, agreed. Artwork Studios, it's like just pick the things you like and work in the tools and the languages you like. I mean, and this is purely talking about like if you're developing and coding for your own stuff, right? Now, obviously, if you're trying to get a job and all the businesses around you use Java, well, sorry, you're out of luck. You got to go learn Java, right? Um, but yeah, for your own personal stuff, your own side projects and interests, why force yourself to use things that you don't enjoy, that you find arbitrary? If you want to build shit with PHP, go do it. You shouldn't feel dumb. Don't compare yourself. First of all, don't compare yourself to other people. Second of all, you're definitely not dumb. Um, yeah. So also, you shouldn't feel sorry for not liking us. But agreed. Yeah. You should like, you know, yeah, and I think that's where the world in general, it's not just a developer ecosystem thing or tech ecosystem thing. It's like a world thing where like people find it really difficult to believe that somebody can appreciate and acknowledge the usefulness and value of something, and at the same time it not be their like or not be their preference. Right? It's like somehow people believe that disliking something is in some ways a critique or um, an assault on that thing, if that makes sense. And that's a really it's a really difficult way to walk through life, right? Yeah. So, Russell, I was using WordPress for all landing pages until this year. Now I find it easier to just have an AI agent develop a custom site in just HTML, CSS, and JS with little or no server-side code. Yeah, landing pages would be a great use case for just a bunch of static files, right? Actually, WebDev Cody just put out a couple YouTube videos of him working on a project that was just it was just using AI to generate static sites, which I thought was pretty cool. I don't know what he's going to end up doing with it, but that's a pretty cool idea for a project. The problem for me um, is I know this is probably a skill issue and I just need to work through it, but I just kind of get frustrated at a certain point of trying to prompt the LLM to do something and like make something blue or make it bigger, make it shorter, make it wide, basically try to prompt it to like give me the design I want when I could just go in and like make the design the way I want. That like obviously that's probably something like, oh Steven, you need a better prompt engineer. But I just get frustrated after a minute of like, no, move it more up or no, make it more blue, and it doesn't always come through. And it's like, man, I could have saved myself several minutes there if I had just gone in and edited the code myself. But going from 0 to 1, yeah, totally. Give me the AI. Sudoer, what is the topic? We're just the topic is random. It's just kind of what uh it's just kind of random. We're just been chatting for the last hour or so. I'm getting ready. We're actually, yeah. I said I was going to stream for about an hour. We're getting ready. Me and my family were getting ready to head on a trip back home to my hometown, and I thought I'd get on here and stream for about an hour because I hadn't streamed in a couple days. And I thought I was going to try to write some code. Obviously, I have written no code. I've only talked, and yeah. So it was just kind of like a welcome back stream, a follow up, or like like a catch up stream is what this turned into. Drink coffee and catch up. But I'll be out. I'll be out tomorrow. Well, I guess I'll be out actually till Tuesday, because we'll be traveling the next couple days, so I won't be near my stream setup. But I'll probably see you in some shorts, some videos and whatnot. Writing front end is tiring. It actually kind of is to some extent, Butterscotch. You get to a point where you're like, especially the way my brain is, I kind of will obsess over like, is that button's corners rounded enough? Is it perfectly centered? What does it do when the page gets bigger, smaller? Uh, all those web UI things. And then you'll be sitting there for 30 minutes and you're like, what have I done in the last 30 minutes? Oh, I've perfectly dialed in the size and shape of my buttons. And you're like, oh my God, what, what is wrong with me? Yeah, simplicity is everything. It really is. I mean, there's a lot of people who are saying, or at least they're claiming that like front ends won't be a thing in a world of AI. I'm not really necessarily a buyer of that thing, but like a lot of people are saying like all the need for websites is going to go away because everything's just going to be the web is just going to be constantly crawled by these AI agents. I don't necessarily know if I'm quite there in believing that quite yet. Um, but it would save us a lot of time fiddling with CSS if that becomes the case. Russell, you still need front end chat interfaces. Well, yeah, I mean that's a good point. I guess it depends on what is the interface, right? Is it speech to text and it's some ambient thing that's running on your machine? I honestly don't know. I know people are like, people won't need to develop websites anymore. I don't know if I'm quite there yet. Noku, why have a front end when you can just curl requests directly to the Yeah, I mean yeah, like just open your terminal and make some curl requests. Yeah, the trip, Artwork Shoes, thank you. Yeah, the trip's gonna be fun. I'm gonna get to see my nephew and my brother and his wife and stuff, so that's gonna be a fun trip. See my mom. We love sidetracking. Yeah, sidetracking's the best. This makes for the most fun streams. Sagasitas? Sagasitas, I think is how you say your username. That's a great username. Thanks for the wave, man. Hope you're doing well. I got a proof of concept Discord bot that voice chats and connects with OpenAI's real-time API. That's cool. Very, very cool. Yeah. That's actually something I want to do with my Discord bot in my servers. I want to hook it up to Gemini. You said it correctly. Thank you as well. Oh yeah, I appreciate it, man. I try to say the usernames correctly. Sometimes I butcher them, as people have told me, but I have every intention to try to say people's names correctly. Although I'm not always successful at that. Unless, of course, you pronounce it like the Latin way. Oh, I don't know how to even say things in Latin. All right, well, I think my wife is expecting me to be packed and ready to go. Her and my oldest son are actually out at a Pokemon Go event right now, and I'm pretty sure she is expecting me to be ready to load up the car when she gets back. So I probably should hop off here and go pack my bag and get situated, lest I risk angering the wifey. I don't know if anybody here is married, but happy wife, happy life. Butterscotch. Someone called me Butterscotch. Butcher's Scoot. Haven't played Pokemon Go in ages. Yeah, they have a lot of fun. They're at some event at a park. Saga Citas. I'm prepping for an SRE role soon. Any tips or advice? Hopefully, I get an interview that is. Um, oh no, I'm happy. I'm happy to give you advice. So Saga Citas, are you saying SRE meaning site reliability engineer? Is that the role? Noku, imagine not getting your name butchered 99.99% of the time. Yeah, getting your name butchered is well, I mean, my parents spell my name funny, and so my whole life I've had to clarify my name is pronounced Steven, not Stevan, not Esteban, not Steven. So I totally get it. Oh yeah, Butterscotch just put my Discord link in the chat. So if you do have questions or ever want to chat with me or a lot of the folks here that are in chat, you can join that Discord. Um, that's a great place to interact with me and everyone else outside of stream. But yeah, Sagasitas, I'm happy to um, offer my input. Yeah, okay, site reliability engineer. So I've never worked as a site reliability engineer. My understanding is that role is a sub discipline of the larger DevOps space, sort of. Um, I think my advice for you just starting a new position or starting a role would be to get into the company. And the first thing is focus on not being a know it all, but focus on being a learn it all. Figure out what their current processes are, figure out what their current tech stack is, what's their architecture, not only the technology, but then also understand the processes. How is the technology developed? How is it deployed? How is it maintained? Um, be a learn it all, like absorb all that information, right? Once you've done that, now with that context, now try to start applying your expertise, right? Try to think through your skill set and what you think could be changed or done differently, or maybe what could be added or removed to help facilitate your mandate, right? Which I would assume your mandate is obviously reliability, availability. So what can you contribute to the existing state of things, and then start trying to build relationships, because 9 times out of 10, I'm guessing most things in an organization are not going to be all within your team that are involved in the reliability of the software that you're contributing to. So start building relationships with the DevOps guys, with the developers, with the QA, with the product team. Develop relationships so that you can start then having influence and trust to start implementing or doing the things that you think should be being done, right? So that, to me, that's the best way to approach starting someplace new. If you're the new guy, first step is get the lay of the land, figure out who's who. At that point, you can start thinking about what things you think you can offer. Then start building relationships and trust so that you can actually execute on those things, right? Because most jobs don't give you authority over everyone you need to influence to make stuff happen, right? So that's my advice. I know it's kind of generic. It's more like starting a new job and career advice, but that's what I would do. Also, I wish you the best of luck in finding a role like that. I hope it's a quick search. I hope you land someplace that treats you well and challenges you and pays you good and offers you benefits. Yeah, learn as much as you can. Learning should never stop. It really shouldn't, especially in this world. All right, y'all. Well, I'm gonna hop so I don't get yelled at when when the car pulls up, and not that my wife yells at me. Sagacita's new guy, fresh grad as of last year. I love the idea of learn it all. No, makes complete sense. Yeah, the learn it all thing, I stole that from I was listening to a podcast with Scott Hanselman and an engineer or he was an engineer at Microsoft, but he'd recently been laid off, and they were talking. Yeah, it was. I think it was on the Scott Hanselman podcast. Or was that? Oh no, it was on the Free Code Camp podcast. Sorry, the Free Code Camp podcast with Quincy Larson interviewing an engineer who had just been laid off at Microsoft in the round of cuts. And he said I don't worry about being a know-it-all. I learned it about being a learn-it-all. And so I've adopted that. That's like my new favorite thing to say, because I think it puts you in the right headspace. All right, now I should really end the stream. So, Noku, see you. Artwork Studios, bye. Sagasitas, bye. Butterscotch, thanks for hanging out with me. Anybody else who's here? Russell, appreciate you guys keeping me company and catching up and listening to me ramble instead of writing any code. Obviously, if you want to hang out outside the stream, you can join our Discord here. Otherwise, I hope you guys have a great weekend, and I'll likely see you. I'll likely be back streaming Tuesday because I'll be away today, Sunday, Monday, and coming home on Tuesday. So yeah, so I'll probably be back Tuesday evening. All right, bye guys. Have a good day. Bye.